Good morning to everyone. I'd like to introduce the people who will be accompanying us to Puerto Rico, the delegation that we're bringing. First, you'll hear from, after I make some opening remarks, you'll hear from Assemblyman Crespo. You'll then hear from Borough President Diaz. Ruben, myself, and Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez were on the first plane down to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, literally the first plane that landed. So it's a pleasure to be with them again. We have Ken Rasky, who is the president and CEO of the Greater New York Hospital Association, Gil Quinones, who is the president and CEO of the New York Power Authority, who has been doing a tremendous amount of work in Puerto Rico since Hurricane Maria. Big problem has been the power supply, and NYPA and Gil have really taken a leadership role and basically been working since Hurricane Maria. We have Melissa DeRosa, who is the secretary to the governor, Robert Mejica, who's the New York State Budget Director, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Plata from the New York State National Guard. We have 150 National Guard who will be coming down immediately to help with emergency services, and I want to thank the National Guard, who are just a tremendous resource for the state of New York. Floods, hurricanes, whatever it is, the National Guard is always ready to help New York, and they deploy to other states, other situations in this country, and I want to thank them very much for the organization here. And we have Michaela Kennedy Cuomo, who is the supervisor of the governor, and she is here to make sure I stay in line, and it's a pleasure to be with her. Michaela also came to Puerto Rico with me on one of the visits for Hurricane Maria. As everybody knows, Puerto Rico has had a series of earthquakes. They had tremors, 20, 25 tremors on a daily basis. There's a report that there was another earthquake this morning of about 4.9, which is a serious situation. So it wasn't one earthquake. It was has been an ongoing series for a number of days. It has not affected the entire island, but it has affected a significant portion of it. And our purpose of our visit is to assess the damage, find out the best way we can help. We're bringing down, as I mentioned, 115 National Guards people, emergency blankets, pillows, meals. There are thousands of people who are in shelters. There's a significant problem with the power plant. Remember that the island is still rebuilding from Hurricane Maria, and one of the major issues was damage to the power supply. So we will be visiting the main power plant, Costa Sur. We'll be at Ponce, which is the area that has received significant damage. We'll also be at San Juan. We'll meet with the governor. We'll take a helicopter tour over the island to assess the damage. And our point is going to be any way we can help. What do you need in terms of health resources, mental health resources, structural engineers, power supply, emergency responses. That's the purpose of this visit. And people should remember the context. Hurricane Maria was devastating to the island. I think this nation should be ashamed of their response to Hurricane Maria. I don't believe the federal government stepped up the way they should. They treated Puerto Rico as if it was a separate country. Puerto Rico is part of the United States. Puerto Ricans are American citizens. They're not second-class American citizens. We don't have second-class and third-class American citizens. We're American citizens. We're the family of America. They're our brothers and sisters. We feel this especially deeply, being New Yorkers. The Puerto Rican community is such a vital part of New York. I'm a native New York City boy, Queens. We grew up with the Puerto Rican community. This is our family. And our family is in trouble, and what do we do when a family member is in trouble? We come together, we pull together, and we work to help one another. It's that simple. It's not complicated. And Hurricane Maria was devastating. The island still hasn't fully recovered, and then they get hit with an earthquake. And the second, I think this is insult to injury as far as the federal government is concerned. They didn't respond appropriately at Hurricane Maria. The president showed up and threw paper towels into the crowd, and now we have an earthquake and continuing tremors, and once again the federal government hasn't showed up the way they should. Luckily, New Yorkers have. Their response after Hurricane Maria was tremendous. Millions of dollars donated, supplies from all across the state. And we will do the same thing here. We'll make sure that Puerto Rico is not left on its own. And frankly, after Hurricane Maria, New York State did what the federal government should have done in terms of thousands of volunteers and people assisting. And we're going to do the same thing here. The federal government, I believe, has been asleep during these situations, but New Yorkers have really stepped up to the plate, and I'm proud of them. And I'm proud of the delegation that we have with us here today, and I want to thank them all for going down. Again, it is an ongoing situation in Puerto Rico. The reports are that this morning there was another earthquake, not as bad, but the continuing tremors and the continuation of this situation has really brought fear all throughout the island. People don't trust the structures they're in. Some structures have cracked. They're afraid the continuing tremors will actually make it worse. So it's a very serious situation, and that's why we have mobilized as quickly as we have. And I want to thank this delegation for putting aside everything to make this trip, especially the National Guard, who put their lives on hold to respond to help other people. With that, Assemblymember Marcos Crespo, my colleague from Albany, the New York State Assembly has been fantastic, the New York State Senate. You'll then hear from Borough President Diaz, what he did in terms of organizing after Hurricane Maria, not just throughout the Bronx, but all throughout the state, was really nothing short of heroic. But first, Assemblymember Marcos Crespo.
Thank you, Governor. To stand here today as not just a member of the Assembly, but also a member of the New York State Stands with Puerto Rico initiative, one of the co-chairs, it has been an incredible opportunity to be a part of something in government where I can give back to my community, to my people, to where mommy calls home, the place that I was born in. I was born in Guayama, a town just 2 towns over from the epicenter of these earthquakes and tremors. My family has been affected by this. My friends and neighbors have been affected by this. My people have been affected by this. And I can tell you all about the fear, the frustration, the anger, and all the emotions that I and so many millions in the diaspora are feeling for our family members in Puerto Rico, the other millions on the island who are going through and suffering from this stress. It's not just the immediate impact of the storm, it is the emotional and mental stress that people are dealing with, knowing that at any moment these tremors continue. I could talk about that and have so much to say and so much to express in terms of my frustrations with the federal government that I think the governor's been generous. I don't think they've been just asleep. I think they have been awake and chosen to ignore what is happening. But what I want to tell you about is the hope that I feel, that New Yorkers can once again lead the way in the response, that while congressional officials, candidates, leaders, and a federal administration ignores Puerto Rico, I know that my community has a champion, someone who before the storms, before Hurricane Maria, had already made a priority to help the economic crisis in Puerto Rico. And the only leader in this country that has done that has really responded and has mobilized everything that's at his disposal and has done more to save lives on the island. This is not a statement out of political convenience. I want to be very, very clear. As a Puerto Riqueño, I am telling you that what New York has done under the leadership of Governor Cuomo has saved lives on my island. And so to stand here today with you, Governor, to be a part of this and to continue this response, to have maintained your word, and you said it from the beginning, you would walk shoulder to shoulder with Puerto Ricans at every step, and you have done that. And now with this new crisis, for us to step up, to mobilize so many resources, I can only tell you on behalf of my community, gracias, Gobernador, por defender a los puertorriqueños, por luchar por nosotros y por salvar vidas en Puerto Rico.
Buenos dias, good morning. I just want to echo the sentiments of Marco Crespo in that each and every single one of you, those who are here today in your life, those who will be seeing this on television, think about what the word friend and friendship means. It means someone or a group of people who are there with you, especially during times of tribulation, not just during times of comfort. And that's exactly what Governor Cuomo has been to the Puerto Rican people in the island of Puerto Rico. Thank you, Governor, for not playing politics with this. You've been there when Puerto Rico was facing the economic crisis. You were there during Hurricane Maria. You've been there regardless of what the political leadership, with all of the turbulence that we see on the island, not allowing for the politics of the island to dictate your heart. And now here we are with not only one earthquake, but dozens of earthquakes and hundreds of aftershocks. My mother is from Ponce. We're going to be in Ponce later today. I spoke to my cousins in Ponce. I spoke to my aunt in Juanadilla. I spoke to my aunt Titi Pilar, who's in Ajuntas. And their houses are not structurally damaged or compromised, but they are dealing with the anxieties that almost every hour they feel tremors, every morning. And so even though they have sound structures of households, they're sleeping outside. So we don't know what we're going to encounter. We don't know exactly. That's what this trip is about. And we thank the men and women of the National Guard and Governor Cuomo. We thank your team. But anecdotally, for those of you who are wondering how you can help Puerto Rico, if nothing else, please, they need blankets, they need cots, they need tents, they need sleeping bags. People are sleeping outside in the elements because they are fearful that if they sleep indoors, that even if their homes are not compromised, at some point it may fall on their heads. The governor talked about the federal government, and I agree with Marcos. Shame on you. These are Americans, over 3.3 million Americans. And it's not just that guy that is masquerading as President of the United States who continues to disrespect us. But I'll dare say this, and I'm a proud Democrat. There's a debate tonight. We don't want to hear about petty political differences and squabbles. I hope that tonight, if we're really going to have debate, if we're going to have a conversation, we want to hear Democrats also talk about their stance and how they would help Puerto Rico should and when they make it to the White House. And if nothing else, take a look at this young guy right here. Follow his lead. Governor, you've been a beacon of hope. A la gente de Puerto Rico, gracias a Dios que tenemos un amigo en el gobernador Cuomo. Él ha estado ahí sin política, siempre ha sido un amigo de nuestra comunidad. No sabemos lo que vamos a confrontar hoy. Sí sabemos que hay muchas personas que no tienen sus hogares, hay otras miles y miles que tienen la ansiedad. Entonces, otra vez, gracias a Dios que tenemos un amigo como el gobernador Cuomo y todos los que están aquí en el estado de Nueva York. Yo represento la mayor parte del condado con la mayor población de puertorriqueños en todo el estado y le damos gracias de parte de los puertorriqueños a nuestro gran amigo Andrew Cuomo y a todo su equipo que están aquí otra vez y que enseñando lo que en realidad es ser un amigo.
Thank you very much. Well, I think everything has been said. I thank my colleagues for their sentiment. You know, last point, the world is complicated now. Issues with Iran, impeachment, all politics. But as complicated as it is as simple as it is. People who are in government are there to try to help people. The people of Puerto Rico need help. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, what you are. They need help, and they are American citizens, and American citizens who we love, and we have a very close relationship with. When members of your family, when brothers and sisters who are American citizens need help, Do it. Do it. Show up. Do what you can. And that's what today is all about. And I'm proud to be governor of New York. And I'm proud to be a colleague of Marcos and of Ruben and the proud Puerto Rican community of New York. And I'm proud that on behalf of all New Yorkers, all 20 million New Yorkers, I know they all would applaud what we're doing today, and they stand behind us. And it's my honor to be the governor of New York today.